The challenges facing Mount Kilimanjaro's tourism industry are explored, including climate change and the need for sustainable practices. The video examines potential solutions and the future of tourism on this iconic mountain. You might think climbing Mount Kilimanjaro is just a once-in-a-lifetime experience, but the future of this iconic trek is far from predictable. We're revealing the surprising changes happening on the mountain and what it means for aspiring adventurers. Mount Kilimanjaro boasts a remarkable array of diverse ecosystems, ranging from lush rainforests at its base to an Arctic-like summit, creating a unique and captivating landscape. This vertical distribution of ecosystems, with 5 distinct climatic zones, offers a wide range of habitats for various plant and animal species. Cultivation zone, 800 to 1800 meters. This zone is characterized by human activity, with farms and villages nestled at the foot of the mountain. Forest zone, 1800 to 2800 meters. Lush rainforests thrive in this zone, supporting a rich biodiversity of plant and animal life, including monkeys, birds, and various insects. Heath and moorland zone, 2800 to 4000 meters. This zone features open landscapes with hardy shrubs, grasses, and unique plant species adapted to higher altitudes. Alpine desert zone, 4000 to 5000 meters. The landscape becomes more arid and rocky in this zone, with sparse vegetation and extreme temperature fluctuations. Arctic summit zone, above 5,000 meters. The summit area is characterized by glaciers, ice, and snow, with very few plant or animal species able to survive the harsh conditions. The beauty of Kilimanjaro lies not only in its snow-capped peak, but also in the dramatic transitions between these diverse ecosystems, providing a unique and unforgettable experience for climbers and nature enthusiasts. Mount Kilimanjaro holds deep cultural significance, particularly for the Chaga people who live on its slopes, viewing it as a sacred dwelling place of the divine and a source of life and fertility. Kilimanjaro is more than a mountain. It's a spiritual symbol, with local communities associating it with spirits and gods, creating a sense of reverence, according to Tanzania Adventures. The mountain's imposing presence has also woven itself into the folklore and mythology of the region, with tales of gods, spirits, and heroic feats passed down through generations, says ZAFS Tours. For the Chaga people, Kilimanjaro was believed to be the abode of Engai, the supreme being, and is treated with great reverence. The mountain is seen as a place where the earthly and spiritual realms meet, and climbing it can be a deeply spiritual experience. Kilimanjaro is central to the stories and legends of the local people, adding to its mystique and cultural importance. The mountain's fertile slopes provide water and resources, making it a vital part of the local ecosystem and economy. Kilimanjaro is a source of pride for the nation of Tanzania, boosting its global profile and drawing attention to its cultural heritage. The mountain's fame attracted European explorers, missionaries, and mountaineers in the 19th century, leading to its eventual colonization. Kilimanjaro became part of German East Africa and later Tanzania, with the summit eventually renamed Uhuru Peak, Freedom Peak. Colonization had a significant impact on the Chaga people, with changes in land ownership and the introduction of new religions. Today, Kilimanjaro is a protected area, with measures taken to conserve its unique environment and cultural significance. Climbing Mount Kilimanjaro is increasingly popular among tourists, with an estimated 50,000 people attempting the climb each year. This surge in popularity is attributed to the mountain's growing fame, accessibility, and the desire for a challenging and rewarding adventure. The increase in climbers, however, has led to concerns about overcrowding and environmental impact, prompting authorities to implement measures for responsible trekking. Kilimanjaro is Africa's highest peak and one of the 7 summits, making it a highly desirable destination for climbers and adventurers. While challenging, Kilimanjaro doesn't require technical climbing experience, making it accessible to a wider range of fitness levels. Climbing Kilimanjaro offers a multi-climactic experience, traversing through various ecosystems from rainforest to Arctic conditions, with stunning views and wildlife encounters. Many climbers choose Kilimanjaro to mark significant life events like graduations, weddings, or retirement, adding a symbolic layer to the experience. The overall increase in adventure tourism has contributed to the rise in Kilimanjaro's popularity, with more people seeking unique and challenging travel experiences. High-profile events, publicity surrounding the mountain, and social media sharing have further fueled the desire to climb. Increased climber numbers, especially during peak seasons, can lead to crowded routes and potential environmental damage. The influx of tourists can put a strain on the mountain's fragile ecosystem, requiring careful waste management and sustainable trekking practices. A large number of porters are needed to support climbers, and ensuring their fair treatment and working conditions is crucial. While the mountain is accessible, not all climbers reach the summit. Choosing the right route and a reputable guiding company can improve the chances of success. Climbers are encouraged to choose reputable tour operators that prioritize sustainable practices and the well-being of local communities. Adhering to leave no trace principles, such as carrying out all trash and minimizing environmental impact, is essential. Choosing operators that employ and fairly compensate local guides, porters, and cooks contributes to the economic benefits of tourism. Raising awareness about responsible trekking practices and the importance of conservation is vital for the long-term sustainability of Kilimanjaro. Climate change is causing Kilimanjaro's glaciers and snow cover to disappear at an alarming rate. Since the early 20th century, the ice fields have shrunk by over 85%, and some projections suggest they could vanish entirely within the next couple of decades. This dramatic loss is primarily attributed to rising global temperatures and altered precipitation patterns, both direct consequences of climate change. Studies indicate that Kilimanjaro's glaciers have lost a substantial amount of their volume, with some estimates putting the loss at over 85% since 1912. The rate of glacial retreat has been accelerating, particularly in recent years, with some ice fields shrinking by 26% in just a decade, according to Ultimate Kilimanjaro. The primary driver of this glacial retreat is global warming, which leads to increased melting and sublimation of the ice. Changes in atmospheric conditions, including reduced precipitation and drier air, also contribute to the melting and sublimation of Kilimanjaro's snow and ice. The famous snows of Kilimanjaro are also receding, with some projections suggesting they could disappear entirely in the coming years. While some argue that snow might persist for a few more decades, the overall trend is clear. Kilimanjaro's glaciers and snow cover are disappearing at an alarming pace, with some predicting their complete disappearance by 2040 or even sooner. Tourism to Mount Kilimanjaro has both positive and negative impacts on the local communities, water resources, and the mountain's ecosystem. While it provides economic benefits through job creation and revenue generation, it also contributes to environmental degradation, including soil erosion, vegetation damage, and water pollution. Climate change, driven in part by the tourism carbon footprint, further exacerbates these issues, impacting water resources and potentially affecting the livelihoods of people who depend on the mountain's ecosystem. Kilimanjaro is a vital water source for surrounding communities, and its glaciers are shrinking due to climate change, potentially leading to water shortages. Increased foot traffic on trails and deforestation for tourism infrastructure can cause soil erosion, leading to increased runoff and sedimentation of water sources. Improper waste disposal by tourists and locals can contaminate water sources, particularly at lower elevations, impacting both human and animal populations. Deforestation, often linked to tourism development, can decrease dry season river flows, affecting agriculture and livelihoods. Tourism creates jobs for guides, porters, cooks, and other support staff, particularly for the local Chaga communities. Tourism revenue can contribute to poverty reduction and improve livelihoods, but the benefits may not be evenly distributed, leading to income disparities. Local communities may overuse resources like water and firewood to support tourism activities or their own livelihoods, leading to resource depletion. Tourism can introduce cultural exchange and understanding, but it can also lead to the commodification of local culture and traditions. Some communities are actively involved in conservation efforts, like tree planting, to protect water resources and promote sustainable tourism practices. Increased foot traffic and construction of infrastructure can cause soil erosion and damage to vegetation, especially in high-traffic areas. Improper waste disposal by tourists and lack of adequate waste management infrastructure can create litter and pollution problems. The tourism carbon footprint contributes to climate change, which is causing glaciers to melt and potentially impacting biodiversity and ecosystem health. Habitat destruction and climate change can lead to loss of biodiversity and the decline of endemic species. Increased hiking pressure can cause trail erosion, affecting the integrity of the mountain's ecosystem and potentially impacting the experience for tourists. Climate change is significantly impacting Mount Kilimanjaro's unique ecosystems and wildlife through glacier melt, altered vegetation patterns, and increased fire frequency. These changes threaten the mountain's biodiversity and could alter the experience for trekkers. Mount Kilimanjaro's glaciers are rapidly disappearing due to rising temperatures, with some predicting their complete disappearance within the next few decades. This loss of glacial ice impacts local communities who rely on glacial meltwater for drinking and agriculture. The changing climate is causing shifts in vegetation zones, potentially leading to the disappearance of certain plant and animal species adapted to specific altitudes. Increased frequency and intensity of wildfires, exacerbated by drier conditions, are also altering forest cover and impacting the upper forest line. Deforestation, particularly in the lower regions, is putting further pressure on wildlife and habitats. The shrinking glaciers and changing vegetation are threatening the biodiversity of Mount Kilimanjaro, potentially leading to population declines or even extinctions of certain species. Some species may be forced to migrate to higher altitudes, potentially leading to competition with other species already inhabiting those zones. The changing climate could alter trekking experiences, with the potential loss of the iconic snow-capped peak and changes in weather patterns. Increased temperatures and altered precipitation patterns can also lead to changes in disease patterns, potentially impacting human populations in the region. While some species may adapt to the changing conditions, the overall impact on Kilimanjaro's unique ecosystems and biodiversity is likely to be negative. Sustainable tourism management on Kilimanjaro faces several key challenges, including environmental degradation from increased foot traffic and waste, the impact of climate change on glaciers and water resources, and socioeconomic issues like revenue leakage and community engagement. Increased foot traffic on popular trails leads to soil erosion and trampling of vegetation, impacting the delicate ecosystem. The growing number of tourists generates significant waste, posing challenges for proper collection, disposal, and potential pollution. Waste and sewage from tourist activities can contaminate water sources, impacting both human and wildlife populations. Melting glaciers and changing weather patterns, exacerbated by climate change, threaten Kilimanjaro's iconic snowcap and alter the landscape, potentially impacting tourism. A significant portion of tourist revenue may not directly benefit local communities, potentially hindering sustainable development efforts. Ensuring that local communities are involved in and benefit from tourism while also respecting their cultural integrity is crucial for long-term sustainability. Addressing issues related to porter working conditions and fair treatment is essential for responsible tourism practices. Finding a balance between wildlife conservation and the livelihoods of communities living near the park is an ongoing challenge. Implementing and enforcing policies like Leave No Trace and mandatory waste carrying, along with establishing recycling facilities, is crucial. Developing eco-friendly infrastructure and promoting responsible tourism practices can minimize environmental impact. Investing in community-based tourism initiatives and ensuring equitable benefit sharing can empower local communities and foster sustainable practices. Developing strategies to adapt to the impacts of climate change, such as promoting water conservation and exploring alternative tourism activities, is essential. Effective collaboration among government agencies, tour operators, local communities, and conservation organizations is vital for successful sustainable tourism management. Local communities around Mount Kilimanjaro play a crucial role in promoting responsible tourism by actively participating in guiding, porting, and providing hospitality services. They're also involved in community-based tourism initiatives, ensuring that tourism revenue benefits the local population through fair wages, employment opportunities, and capacity-building programs. Furthermore, local communities are vital in preserving the mountain's natural beauty and cultural heritage through sustainable practices. Local communities provide essential services like guiding, porting, and hospitality, ensuring that tourists have a positive and authentic experience. These initiatives promote cultural exchange, allowing tourists to engage with local traditions, crafts, and cuisine. By participating in tourism, local communities gain access to sustainable income, improving their livelihoods and reducing reliance on activities that could harm the environment. Local communities, with their traditional knowledge, play a key role in protecting the fragile ecosystem of Kilimanjaro by promoting sustainable practices and raising awareness among tourists. Responsible tourism practices, such as respecting local customs and traditions, help preserve the cultural heritage of the communities living around the mountain. Tour operators often partner with local communities to provide educational initiatives, such as scholarships for children and support for local schools, further empowering the next generation. Local communities are encouraged to adopt eco-friendly practices, such as using biodegradable products, minimizing waste, and respecting local wildlife. Local involvement in tourism fosters a sense of ownership and pride among residents, encouraging them to actively participate in conservation efforts. Successful responsible tourism relies on collaboration between local communities, tour operators, conservation organizations, and other stakeholders. Local communities can play a role in monitoring the impact of tourism on their environment and livelihoods, ensuring that tourism remains sustainable in the long term. Collaborative efforts are crucial for protecting Mount Kilimanjaro's future due to the complex threats it faces, including climate change, unsustainable tourism practices, and the need for responsible water management. Engaging local communities, tour operators, conservation organizations, and international bodies is essential to ensure the mountain's long-term sustainability and the well-being of those who depend on it. Kilimanjaro's glaciers are receding at an alarming rate, primarily due to global warming. Collaborative initiatives focused on reducing carbon emissions, promoting sustainable energy sources, and implementing reforestation projects are vital to mitigate the effects of climate change and preserve the mountain's iconic snows. Kilimanjaro is a vital source of water for surrounding communities. Collaborative efforts are needed to manage water resources sustainably, ensuring access for both local populations and the mountain's ecosystems. The increasing number of tourists visiting Kilimanjaro presents both economic opportunities and environmental challenges. Collaborative efforts between tour operators, park authorities, and local communities can implement sustainable tourism practices like responsible trekking, waste management, and community-based tourism initiatives to minimize the environmental impact of tourism. Engaging local communities in tourism development and conservation efforts through initiatives like ecotourism and community-led conservation projects can provide alternative livelihoods, foster a sense of ownership, and ensure that tourism benefits the local population. Kilimanjaro's unique biodiversity is under threat from habitat loss and degradation. Collaborative efforts involving conservation organizations, local communities, and government agencies are essential to protect the mountain's flora and fauna, including endangered species. Protecting wildlife corridors that connect Kilimanjaro with other protected areas is crucial for maintaining genetic diversity and supporting healthy wildlife populations. Collaborative efforts involving landowners, conservation organizations, and government agencies can establish and manage these corridors effectively. Collaborative research and monitoring efforts are essential to understand the impacts of climate change, tourism, and other factors on Kilimanjaro's ecosystems. This information can then be used to inform conservation strategies and adaptive management practices. Collaborative initiatives can facilitate the sharing of research findings, best practices, and local knowledge among scientists, conservation practitioners, and local communities. In conclusion, the future of Mount Kilimanjaro depends on the collective action of diverse stakeholders. By fostering collaboration, promoting sustainable practices, and empowering local communities, it is possible to protect this natural wonder for future generations.